So this is our second session in the Microsoft Word workshop in setting up our document. This is still part of part one of this workshop, and in this session we will do the style setup. In the previous session we did a basic page and document setup. So in this session we will continue with that document setup and set up the styles that we're going to use in our research report. Styles is an amazing tool that is used in Word to make sure that your document consistently looks the same throughout the whole document. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to save my document. Click on File Save before we start, and the first style that I'm going to set up is the normal style. So where we find our styles is right on our home menu. In the ribbon you will see there's a clipboard font paragraph, and right here in the middle we have the different styles. So what we're going to do is in order to set up our normal style, I'm going to select normal, left click, and then I'm going to right click on that, and that will open a little menu. We want to modify our normal style, and for our research report and the styling that we're going to use, we want to make sure that our font size is at 12. So what we're going to, you can either change that right here in front. This is like a shortcut menu to all the different to the quick styles that you can change in your font, but what we want to do is I'm going to show you the another way to do that, and that is to click on Format here at the bottom, Format, and we will go to Font, and the normal style is part of the body of the document. That is going to be regular. We want to make sure that the size of our font is 12, so make sure that that is 12. The font color will be automatic. We will not underline that. We're not going to select any effects on our font, and we will click on OK. Now we'll see it's immediately been updated in the front, and that is our normal font has been updated in that way. The next part that we want to update is to make sure that our paragraph is set to the correct dimensions. So selecting paragraph, we will make sure that our alignment at the top, the alignment is not left. We want that to be justified. So just look at the preview text here at the bottom. When I select left, it means the text is literally aligned to the left margin. When I select centered, the text will be centered to the page. When I select right, it will be aligned to the right side of the margin. But when we select justified, it creates this neat little box that we want to apply to our research report. So alignment will be justified. Our spacing before paragraphs will be 0. Spacing after paragraphs will also be 0. So just make sure that that is 0. And our line spacing will be set at 1,5. So just as a quick recheck, alignment is justified, spacing before is 0, spacing after is 0, and our line spacing will be set to 1.5. We click on OK. We'll see this has been updated, and we will click on OK, and our normal style will be updated to what we want it to be. The next bit that we're going to set up is the different headings, and if you see we've got the heading 1, 2 and heading 3. Now in order to set it up for our research report, the first thing that we want to do is we want to set up our multi-level lists. Now a multi-level list is just what it shows here. We've got a 1, we've got a 1.1 and a 1.1.1. Now for our research report, we want this set up in our different headings. Now in your Microsoft Word, it may not be set up like that from the beginning. So in order to do that, we will go to our paragraph under the home menu. Now under paragraph, you'll see you'll have a bulleted list, you will have a normal numbering list, and then we will have our multi-level list. So we left click on multi-level list, and we'll open a bunch of options for you. And under that, under the list library, we've got the current list, we've got the list library. We want to select the library item that says that shows 1.1, 1.1, blah blah blah, and with the heading, you'll see like a little gray heading 1, heading 2, heading 3 that's been set up there. Right, so we're going to select that, and you will see that heading 1, 1.1 and 1.1.1 should have been updated in your Word document. Right. So we don't want to leave it at that, however, because we want our heading 1 to say chapter. Now remember, we are writing a research report, and your research report will probably have 4 or 5 chapters, and we want to make sure that our heading 1 starts with chapter. So in order to do that, we will go to our multi-level lists again. We will click on that, and we say define a new multi-level list. Click on that, and we will go to click level to modify, and we want to modify our first level. Now, if you click on the different levels, you can go and modify all the different levels in your multi-level list, but the only one that we want to modify is the first level. Right, so there's level 1. I will go enter formatting for number. We will click there. I will go to the start of this line, and I will write chapter. Simple as that. And then after that, after the 1, I will give set up a little colon. That just makes it a little bit easier when we start to write in our research report. The next bit that you want to change here, so you've got define your multi-level list, is just click on more, because we don't want a tab character to follow our list. We want a space to follow our list. You can also select nothing. However, the space, just conveniently set up the space right after the colon once that has been added. Then we're going to click on OK. And we just want to select this again, because sometimes in Word, for some strange reason, you need to do things twice. I'm going to select that. I'm going to select heading 1, and we're going to say define new multi-level list. I'm going to go to the beginning of that, and I'm going to write chapter 1 with the colon. Make sure that that is followed by a space, and I will select OK, and you'll see my chapter 1, my heading 1 has been updated with chapter 1. Right, so that has been set up using the define new multi-level list. Now we've got chapter 1, and once chapter 1 is started, we'll start with 1.1, 1.1.1 as part of our multi-level list. Now, the next bit that we want to do, since we've started to set up our headings, is we're going to set up our heading number 1 to conform to the specific styles that we want to use in our document. So heading 1, all the headings will have the same basic look, specifically when it comes to paragraphs and spacing, etc., etc. But we're just going to set this up, and I'm going to show you how to do this. The first, make sure that heading 1 is selected. Left click. I'm going to right click, like we've done with the normal style that we've set up. Right click, and I want to modify this. So once this is opened, we will make sure that we go to format. I usually don't set up anything here. You can obviously use this as a shortcut, but I prefer to go to the format. I will select font. Once we go to font, this is part of the headings. Our heading number 1 will be bold. 12, so bold is selected. 12 is selected. It's going to be in all caps. So just have a look at there. It's going to be in all caps, and I'm going to say OK. Once this has been set up, the next bit that we want to set up is our paragraph. Our paragraph is going to be not justified. For our heading 1, this is going to be centered. We want our heading 1 to be, the chapter 1 to be centered in the page, so that will be centered. The spacing before will be 0, spacing after our heading will be 12, and our line spacing will remain at 1.5. So make sure that that is selected as 1.5. Our spacing after will be 12, and our alignment will be centered. That is that for the paragraph setup. Now, in order to give a little bit of flair to our headings, specifically our chapter headings, we will add a little bit of a border. And in order to do that, I'm going to add to the format. I'm going to go down to border. I'm going to make sure that our width is 1/2 width. We want to use the normal solid line. The color will be automatic, and then I want to apply that to the paragraph. Our line, our border, we're going to apply to the paragraph. We're just going to select it as the bottom. We don't want to encase our whole heading in a block. We only want to make sure that the bottom part of our heading looks like it is underlined. So we're going to add that line to the bottom of our chapter. We're going to select OK. I'm going to select OK, and immediately you see my chapter, the chapter 1 that I've started there, has been updated to add the line or the border at the bottom. Right, so like I said, the rest of our headings will look pretty much the same. So let's just quickly run through that. Heading 2, the setup for heading 2, we select heading 2, left click, I right click on it and modify. We go to format, we go to font, and we make sure that our font for heading 2 is bold. It is 12. Now this will also be all caps. Make sure that it is all caps. We select OK. We will format our paragraph, and this is once again justified, and we're going to make sure that our spacing before is 0. Our spacing after the heading will be 12. Line spacing will be 1,5. And that is it for setting up heading number 2. We're going to click on OK, and that has been set up. Now we're going to set up heading number 3, and the moment that I click on heading number 3, just watch this space right next to heading number 3. So the moment I click on heading number 3, boom, heading number 4 pops up. Right, so you don't have to go and worry about adding new headings. Microsoft Word will automatically add headings as you start to use them, but in our case we don't want to actually use more than 4 headings, and even heading number 4, use that with caution or very, very rarely, and only when you really, really need to. So let's set up heading number 3. Heading number 3, I've selected that, click on that, right click, we want to modify. I want to make sure that under format, font, we're going to make sure our font is part of the headings. It will still be bold, it will be 12, but there will be no caps. So this will just be a normal 12, and you will see it will display as a normal sentence text when you write out that heading. The font color is still blue there. We want to make sure that this is automatically, everything in your document should be the font should be black, or automatic, and that will automatically select the first color scheme there. So we're going to make that automatic, and we're going to click on OK. And then the last bit is to make sure that our paragraphs are set up correctly. We've got set up the font, we're going to set up the paragraph. Once again, spacing before will be 0, spacing after will be 12, and our line spacing will be 1,5. Let's click on OK. We click on OK, and our heading number 3 has been set up. Since we may use our heading number 4 every now and again, we're going to set that up. Now watch once again, when I click on this, heading 5 will pop up, although we're not going to use heading 5 in our document, but heading 5 is going to pop up, so we click on that and there's heading 5 just appeared. Select heading 4, right click and modify. Right, so we're going to go down to format again. We're going to click on font. It's still part of the headings. Now heading number 4 will be both bold and italic. So we're going to go font that is bold and italic, and we want to make sure that our font color is not this blue color. We want to make sure that it is automatic. I'm going to click on OK. Make sure your size there is 12, bold italic, headings, font color is automatic. Everything in this document will be size 12, so you can make sure that your fonts all over is that size. So we're going to click on OK. And then we will make sure that our paragraph is set up correctly. Spacing before will be 0, spacing after our heading will be 12, and our line spacing will be set at 1.5. Click on OK, click on OK, and that has set up our heading number 4. Right, so we've set up our headings, heading 1, 2, 3, and 4. The next bit that we want to add is our caption. The caption is what will be used at the top of your figures and your tables in order to label them. So we want to make sure that our captions is set up correctly. So let's quickly have a look here. You will see in this stylings as it is right now, the caption has not been added to this basic styles already. In your document it may, in mine it is not. So what we want to do is, caption is a basic word style, so we want to add that to our style gallery here. In order to do that, I'm going to select this little arrow button here at the bottom corner of our styles section of this ribbon. So I'm going to click on this little arrow and you will see the styles pop up. And right now this is only showing the styles that's already in my document, but we are looking for the caption style. So we're going to click on options, and I want to say those select styles to show, don't show only recommended, show me all the styles. Select how list is sorted. Let's make that alphabetical because that will make it just easier to find the specific style that you are looking for. And we're going to select on OK. So we are looking for caption, and caption is right there under C. Now when I click on this, this should be added to our document, and see there it is in our styles gallery. Caption has been added. Now you can either format that here, modify your style there. So if open this style communication block, and what we will do is I will click on caption and right on a left click and then modify. Obviously you can also select it there, right click, modify, the way we've done everything else up until now. This is just a different way of doing it. Right, so setting up our caption, we want to once again select our font. Make sure that our font is going to be part of the body styles. That is going to be regular. It's not going to be an italic, bold, or anything else. It's just going to be a regular font. Make sure that it is in 12. Everything in this document will be at size 12. For our labels, we want to make sure that everything is in all caps, that our captions is in all caps. So we'll have that. And then our font color will once again be automatic. We don't want to a bunch of different colors in our research report, so the font color will be automatic, which will default to that color right there. So this is going to be automatic. I'm going to say OK. And then the final part of our caption is to make sure that our spacing is set up correctly. So we're going to format paragraph. The spacing for our caption before will be 0, spacing after will also be 0, and our line spacing will be set at 1,5. And that will just give you a little bit of space between your caption and the figure or the table that you want to use in your document. I'm going to select OK. I'm going to select OK, and that has set up our caption. The final font or final style that we want to set up in our document is a heading that we may want to use that doesn't have a multi-level list, because sometimes you may just want to add a heading that needs to be included in your table of contents, but I don't specifically want that heading to have a number in front of it. So what we're going to do is in this style communication panel, let's just open that again. So we go to our home, styles, and this little arrow here at the bottom that will open the styles communication. And what we will do is I'm going to look for a little thing that is called DOC heading, and there right at the bottom you'll see there is DOC heading. I'm going to click on that, and that should have been added now to our styles gallery. Remember, that wasn't there before, but our TOC heading has now been added there. So TOC, table of contents heading, because I want to add another heading that may not necessarily have a 1 or a 2 or a 3 in front of it, or a 1.1 or 1.2. So our TOC heading, we want that to look the same as our 1.1 style. So if you look at that, our 1 style heading was that heading 2. So we want to make sure that our TOC heading looks the same as our heading 2. So I'm going to select that, left click, and then I'm going to right click on it and say modify. I'm going to click on font. Our font is going to be part of the headings. That will be bold, it will be all caps, and it will be size 12. Remember, everything in this document is going to be size 12. Our font color will be automatic, and that will be it for setting up our font. We want to make sure that our paragraph is set up correctly. Spacing before will be 0, spacing after will be 12, and our line spacing will be set at 1,5. I'm going to click on OK. I will click on OK, and that is it for setting up our styles. Remember to save your document, file, save, and that has set up our styles, and we have set up our basic page and document. In our next session, and the final session of this document setup, we will look at the layout of our research report and a little bit of planning into how the rest of the document.